Welcome to Reverent and Rebellious, a safe space for faith-based conversations on the things that nobody seems to want to talk about these days. We are reverent, we value truth, we elevate scripture, but we are also rebellious. We shatter myths and we destroy dogma, so jump in. Join us, Logan, Pat, and me, the brother Peter, as we get reverent and we get rebellious.
What's up, everybody?
What's up? We're here.
Hey, actually, me and you are in black, and Pat is. Oh, you got the shirt on. Okay.
Okay.
I was about to say. I just glanced down. I'm like, we are in black, and Pat is not.
I decided to go black tonight.
There you go. We're the men in black.
Yes, we are. We are.
I always got the black tee. Always.
Yes, we're rebellious and rebellious.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Well, welcome to our little corner of the world. We are happy that you're with us. Anything new for you, Logan?
Man, just living, man.
Yeah.
LIVIN.
That's it. What about you, Pat?
Man, I've been geeking out on playing guitar.
Don't reveal the song.
I'm not. But Peter's got me on a rabbit hole.
We are well into the process of getting ready for the big Christmas event. And
you need to give the date. Tell people.
Yeah, we actually are going to be for those of you who are local, who are not in Sweden and Denmark, like we know some of you are, and we appreciate you for tuning in.
We're giving them enough of a heads up to go ahead and book their flights.
They could book their flights. Yes, they could.
Yep.
We're going to be at the Ruffin Theater in Covington, Tennessee at 6:30. It's a Wednesday night.
Yep.
And we're really, really looking forward to that. And then we'll be at Holly Grove Church, the best little church in Tipton County.
That's right.
On the 22nd, Sunday morning at 10 o'clock. And so either one, you can just come.
I'm just going to say this Sunday, we showed up to rehearsal, and Peter showed me what we'll be playing. And I looked at Peter, and I said, I love you. It taps into my...
To be fair, he loved me before, but he loves me a little bit more.
A little bit more.
Now,
when you let me have my moments on guitar, I geek out. And
it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
It's a beautiful
thing. We can have a big show this year. I'm
pumped, man. Yeah, when y'all said the song, I am pumped.
Yeah.
Hey, and you should be pumped for tuning in. So why don't you pump that like button?
Just do it right now. Just reach out and touch someone right now.
Yeah.
Hit that button. Yeah.
Hit it. Hit the little bell. Leave us a comment below. And guys, we're going to tell you again. We need those ratings and reviews.
Yeah.
That's it.
Spotify. Y'all have knocked it out of the park. We said that 25 mark.
Yeah, and we've got 26 now. Yeah, that's
now,
good.
All you Apple folks, I hear about all you Apple folks. Well, y'all are slacking. 17. We got to get to 25.
We've got to, so if you've already left a review, just grab your kid's phone.
Yep.
Your wife's phone.
Or their iPad or
iPad,
whatever.
That's it. Yeah. Just go on there and leave us an extra review. Get us over that 25 mark so we can slide into everybody's stream of, podcast feeds.
That's right.
The For You stream.
We had quite a few YouTube comments.
Excellent.
This week.
All right.
Lay 'em on us.
All that means is we need to talk about Satan more, and people start commenting.
Then people comment.
All right. So Rhonda says, "I'm surprised Brother Peter did not tell a joke about the dyslexic sign painter at the Church of Santa."
Yes, the Church of Santa.
Church of Santa.
We did make a Santa reference in there somewhere, but yeah, you're right.
Amber says, sex, yikes. She says, wow, I agree. Nothing says welcome to the holiday season like a podcast about Satan.
That's exactly right. Yeah,
bringing it in the right way.
Yeah.
All right, Aunt Ruby says, I was looking stuff up during the podcast because I never knew these Satanists were so mainstream. I love saying God is a crutch because he holds me up. Okay.
Yeah,
there you go.
When Pat talked about Harry Potter, it reminded me when my church in Memphis had a yard sale, I donated a lot of movies, including a Harry Potter collection that I had never watched. I still never watched Harry Potter movie. A shopper came to the table and went ballistic when she saw the movies and criticized the church and left.
Wow.
I disposed of the movies, but I felt terrible, and I was a poor reflection of the church. That's not true, because I'm not getting rid of my Megadeth albums.
Well, and I was going to say that it's funny that they chastised her or whatever for that whenever, this is my aunt, and she's a horror aficionado. So, You should have busted out some of the real horror films.
Yeah, I'm not getting rid of my Megadeth or Pantera or Black Sabbath.
We do not judge you for your movies and music.
I'm not getting rid of my Barry Manilow or my Captain Tennille. Yes. It's just all there is to it.
Yep.
All right, Rhonda says, I was afeared this week. She said afeared. I was afeared that this week's topic would be creepy, cringy, and would require much prayer. However, I have laughed my tail off at these contradictory, nothing-believing, self-satisfying, calliope playing numbskulls.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yes,
The mating
Rhonda.
call was especially hysterical. Hit it for us one time, Logan. Marcy, you can't watch this.
Yeah. Hey,
right.
you know, hold on. You know what her comment reminds me of? Like when she was talking about the listing them out. It has a very Christmas Vacation feel to it, where he's like this lying, no good. Like that's kind of the vibe I got. Calliope playing. Yeah.
I almost bought you a rug that had that.
I love that. That's
And then our buddy Jay said, "Okay, I'm alive and definitely not working for Satan in the finance industry."
Well, there you go.
You know what,
See?
Jay? We appreciate you trying to lie to us.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
But I
know.
mean, we know what
I know.
banks are.
And we know that you have secretly a calliope hidden in your closet.
Yes.
So, you
Yes.
might as well just fess up.
That's right.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
right. Thank you all for the comments.
They were great.
Rhonda, the way you word your comments always brings a smile to my face.
Yes.
They're amazing.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rhonda's a trip.
And Aunt Ruby, I will bring you some Megadeth and some Slayer, whatever you need. I got you.
Oh, she's, I don't know about her music taste, but like I said, her movie taste is right on par with us.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. So we are in this. This is the second episode of this series called "Let's Talk About Sects," SECTS, and it's a little provocative.
Every time you say it, do you hear "baby" after that? Okay.
Yeah, we need a little sexual healing. Yeah. But before we get into our topic for today, I need you to know the story about this rabbi, this Jewish rabbi and a Catholic priest. Okay, so they're both they're good friends, and they're at a community picnic one day in the park, and the priest is holding a ham sandwich, and he's holding it in front of the rabbi, and he's going, "Hey, I'll bet you wish you could eat this." And it's like, no, I don't need that. He said, "No, you really, it's so delicious. You really should try it. Just eat one ham sandwich." And the rabbi says, "I will at your wedding."
Got you good, sucker. That's good. Got you good, sucker.
At your wedding.
At your wedding.
Yes. By the way, do you know what the dyslexic agnostic insomniac does?
No, I don't.
Lays awake at night wondering if there is a dog.
He's
good.
wondering about that dog. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what the Buddhist said to the hot dog vendor? Make me one with everything.
Ah.
I was gonna say that was my uncle in a former life.
Yes, exactly.
And that's the dyslexia thing is going to come up in this tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So,
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about our favorite subject. We've talked about this a lot, even before this episode.
We have.
And that is the, shall we say, cult.
The
of-
weirdest, one of the, possibly the weirdest
And oddly most popular in Hollywood.
I
and
know.
secretive.
We're going to talk about Scientology.
The ology of
Scientology,
science.
yes. Now, right off the bat, we have to make sure and make the distinction between Scientology and the Christian Science movement.
Okay.
They're two separate things. They often get confused. In my little town of Puyallup, Washington, we had a Christian Science reading room.
I remember you talking about that.
Yeah, it was. I used to always walk a little bit faster past that because that was like juju weird stuff.
Yeah.
It was right in between the lady who owned the health food store, who was a Seventh-day Adventist, but she was really nice, and the Liberty Theater, which we were probably not supposed to go into because if you saw movies, you were going to hell.
Oh, yeah.
We went there later on in life once, my whole kind of, lfamily and community sort of, loosened
Chilled
up
out a little bit.
Yeah. But we weren't really supposed to watch movies.
This must have been what in the early 80s.
70s.
Wow.
Yeah, like 73, 4.
You missed out on a lot of good stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I first saw a movie when I was 10 years old.
That's crazy.
And it was Tom Sawyer.
Okay.
My grandma took me and my brother to see Tom Sawyer, and we walked in, and there's this giant screen, and it just about overloaded our poor little brains.
I would imagine so.
Wow.
10 years old.
Yeah, we didn't have a television until I was in the 8th grade.
Wow.
I had done watched Commando like 55 times by that point in my life.
I know.
Rhonda's daughter, Emily, comes over to the house every Saturday, and we were having these generational conversations, about Xennials, millennials, the whole nine. And I tell them I'm the MTV generation. Like, I grew up, knowing
when
nothing
it had music.
Yeah, and, it's just funny, though.
I was sitting in front of my TV watching when the very first music video was played on MTV.
Wasn't it Video Killed the
Radio Star? Yeah.
Do you remember who did that?
Oh, gosh, no. I wish you hadn't asked.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, man, it's going to make me mad when you tell me.
Don't tell me, because I'm not going to remember.
The Buggles.
Yeah.
Okay, I wouldn't have got it. I wouldn't have got
The
that.
Buggles. Video Killed the Radio Star. That was the first one.
What it made me think of, though, is because Stacy told me, was telling the group, she said, I didn't have cable growing up. So she had, 3, 5, 13, 10.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So she had Reading Rainbow, and I was like, I grew up on, MTV. And so it was funny.
The contrast.
The first TV that we got was a black and white, and it was given to us. It's the kind when you turn it off, that little white dot stays there for like a week.
Yep.
Yeah. And it had a dial on the side.
Yeah.
And you clicked it like this.
My grandmother had something like that. They weigh like 150 pounds. It's got like an 8-inch screen.
And eventually after that, I think my dad got, like really kind of into watching TV. And so we got a color TV, and it was one of those consoles. Had a turntable on one side.
Yeah.
I think it had a cassette player in
fancy.
it. Yeah, it was fancy.
Went all into the devil.
Oh yeah, yeah.
My grandmother had one of those, and after we finally, many years later, talked her into upgrading to one of the modern tube TVs that only weighed 100 pounds as opposed to 500.
Yeah. Exactly.
We hollowed it out, and it's shelves to this day. It's like glass shelves in it that has her little knickknacks in it and everything.
Yeah, we watched The Waltons on Thursday night.
Yeah.
And we watched Emergency. I think that was on Friday night. We were not allowed to watch MASH.
I was just going to say you weren't allowed to watch MASH, were you?
No, they had a cross-dresser in it.
Oh, okay.
And a little too much cleavage.
I was going to say a little risque.
Could not watch Hee Haw.
So I
can imagine if you couldn't watch MASH.
You was probably mad you couldn't look at Hot Lips, huh?
Yeah, well, I didn't know about Hot Lips because
the other kids weren't talking about them.
No, not too much.
I'm not shocked about Hee Haw. That tickles me a little bit.
I know. I missed some good country music though. You know?
Did. Yeah. Oh, it was Marty Robbins, bunch of bad ones on there.
Roy Clark,
Yep.
Roy Clark and Buck Owens, man, they were
Buck Owens.
amazing.
God, I haven't heard that name since Hee Haw.
I've got a tiger by the tail. It's plain to see.
All right, that's that devil music. Calm down.
I know. Okay, so
Scientology.
How did we get off on all that stuff?
I don't know. They got a little music history
talking about Scientology.
Y'all see
Christian Science.
Y'all see why we end up being out here for like 4 hours.
I know.
Because I'm gonna tell you guys, we prepared none of this dialogue.
No,
0%.
No. But we did take a pretty deep dive into Scientology. So, Logan, what do you know about Scientology?
Well, I've been running through my little AI bot.
Yeah.
My original background of Scientology came from South Park. So
actually, interesting thing about the South Park episode, that was actually made to be serious.
Oh, really?
It was not made to be funny. If you watch that again, you'll see.
It says in the bottom, this is not a joke. This is legit. This is actually what they believe.
This was meant to be a direct, almost attack on on Scientology.
You want me to read my AI's breakdown of what it is?
Yeah, go ahead. Give us a thumbnail.
Okay. So, L. Ron Hubbard, science fiction author. Actually.
By the way, do you know what the L stands for?
No, what? I think it's just L, ain't it?
Nope. It's a real name. Lafayette.
Ron Hubbard.
He sounds like the Calliope player.
He does.
He does.
Lafayette Ron Hubbard.
With what he came up with, I'm not surprised. So
I'd stick with the L.
So the founder
What
is
the
L. Ron Hubbard, and the beginning was 75 million years ago. An evil galactic overlord named Xenu ruled the Galactic Confederacy. I'm not even joking. Like,
No,
I feel,
we're going to unpack that.
Yeah,
we're going
like-
to unpack that.
Take notes, Brother Ron.
yeah. So Xenu trapped and killed billions of alien beings, transporting them to Earth, then known as Tegiak. Tegiak, I guess that's how you pronounce it. These beings and souls, Thetans, is it Thetans?
Thetans.
Thetans.
We
All right.
talked about Satan last week. We're talking about Thetans
Thetans.
this week.
Thetans
It's like Mike Tyson talking about
Yeah, Thetan. It's
Hey, he's
Thetan.
coming off a loss. Watch out.
Thetanithum. These beings' souls were implanted with false memories. Thetans are trapped inside human bodies.
Yeah.
And the goal is to free Thetans through auditing. And again, we'll unpack these.
Yeah.
Gotta get clear, man.
There's the path to enlightenment, levels of enlightenment, their cosmology
Yeah.
implications, and obviously a lot of criticisms.
Yeah. Yes. And actually, when we talk about the beings, they were actually supposedly human type beings, and he dropped them in volcanoes and
Okay.
killed them, and the
spirits came out or whatever. Yeah.
and they're prowling around the earth.
Man,
and,
South Park was accurate.
That's why all the Dianetics books and everything have volcanoes on them.
You know, that's why Isaac Hayes quit South Park.
Hello,
Why?
children.
Isaac Hayes played the voice of the chef, and he was a Scientologist. When they did the episode on Scientology, he quit. He told them
Wow.
if
I
they
didn't
did
know
it,
Isaac Hayes was a Scientologist.
yes, yeah, he,
Right here in Tipton County, baby.
yeah, our very
That's
own.
Our very own
Yeah,
Is he
Isaac
still a
Hayes.
Scientologist?
He's
No, he's
dead,
very
so
much
he's
dead.
probably not.
Well, no, he's not dead.
Well, it's true. He's in his.
That's right.
He's reached
He's
his
moved on.
level.
Yes,
He
exactly.
through auditing.
Well, son
him.
of a Thetan, he's there.
But
Yeah,
I mean, was he a Scientologist till he died?
Yep.
Wow.
Wow.
He quit South Park. I mean, he was the chef for years.
Oh, he was awesome.
And he told them if they did an episode making fun of Scientology, he would quit. And the guy, Matt and Trey were like, all right. And so they did an episode.
Man, he is my favorite soul singer.
He was a
I
good
mean,
singer. But
oh
yeah,
my gosh.
I'm
Yes.
I'm 99% sure he died a Scientologist.
All
which
in
is
his
sad.
music, I know him for Shaft.
Yeah. That is sad to me that he died that way.
He did a guest spot, several episodes on my favorite show of all time, The Rockford Files.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was awesome. He was absolutely awesome. I had no idea he was a Scientologist.
Yep.
I didn't either.
That's crazy.
I've got a list of some we'll talk about. I can give you later.
Oh yes,
I got-
yes.
Yeah.
We'll definitely get into this. Okay, so let's dig in just a little bit. So L. Ron Hubbard was a. I'll get into page 2 already. Yeah, he was a science fiction writer most of his life.
Yeah.
He holds the world record, the Guinness World Record, for the most published works of any author.
Wow.
Over 600 books.
Dang,
were published.
man.
Yeah.
Dude's got a vivid imagination.
Yeah, as we'll see. Yeah. So he also was a Navy officer in World War II. He commanded 2 different ships. He was removed from both of those ships.
Because he was crazy.
Well, because his superiors deemed him incapable of command. Here's what he did. He fired on a Japanese sub that no one else saw, and later on they could find no proof of.
He just really wanted to know what it was like to shoot one
Yeah.
of them cannons.
She won them torpedoes, boy.
Yeah.
He also fired on an island, turns out that belonged to Mexico,
Wow.
who was our ally at
That's
the time.
a pretty bad boo-boo right there.
That's exactly right. And so, they if you go on their website and read what they say about L. Ron, they talk glowingly about his military
sure.
career.
Of course.
They say
Of course.
that actually all of his numerous injuries and his near-death experiences helped him to help open his eyes to the truth of all things.
Yeah, Patton
And-
used to call him for advice.
Oh, absolutely, yes. And it became the foundation of their beliefs. That's what led him to discover all this truth. So, yeah, he was naval officer. He got out of the Navy. Well, and also they say that many of his medical records, military medical records, are falsified to cover up the severity of his injuries, and also to cover up his activities as a secret agent.
Oh.
So it was all You know, there was
watered
something
down and stuff.
That's what every veteran who hasn't done anything says.
So here's the deal. And this fascinated me because I wanted to know, how does a guy get from, being a writer, and he didn't really start writing until after the war, but he began writing science fiction, and we'll see. I've got pages full of quotes. He was very proud of his accomplishments as a writer.
Yeah,
he was the bomb writer according to him.
He patted himself on the back.
Oh yeah. He broke his arm.
His authority as a Calliope player.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, in the 30s and 40s, he became a writer. But as he was writing the science fiction stuff, he began to experiment with the occult. And he even became a practicing hypnotist.
Oh, wow.
And this will play into this whole thing. Yeah. He began to dabble in alternative religions and unconventional religious acts. They weren't specific about what they were, but apparently it was weird enough. Yeah. And in 1950, he came up with this whole idea of Dianetics. He wrote the book Dianetics. And basically, it was a psychological technique. In fact, he actually credited Freud for laying the foundation for the work that he did.
Okay.
And basically, it was kind of it was almost a form of hypnotism, really.
Yeah.
Where you would in these counseling or these sessions, he later called them auditing sessions. And so you could go through these auditing sessions where you would backtrack, and you through this hypnotic sort of process, you would recall past traumas and past events in your life. You would relive them, and as you relive them, then they would be removed. They would vanish. And once you went back to the earliest one and relived that, then all of the ones after that would go away. And it's a process called clearing.
Yeah.
Clearing.
Yeah.
What was the name of that movie that you watched?
Going Clear.
Going Clear. That's exactly what it's talking about there. You're clearing yourself of all of this, So, so the whole idea of Thetan was not around just yet. In these auditing sessions, they would use something called the E-meter. Did you see that?
I did, yeah.
The E-meter is actually it's a cousin of the polygraph.
Okay.
So you would hold these electrodes in your hands, and the guy that I heard talking about, he's an ex-Scientologist. He said they started out as soup cans. You hold the holy soup cans in your hand.
Yeah.
And it was connected to this E-meter, and it would measure the temperature and the vibrations of your skin, which is how polygraphs work.
Yeah.
And so basically he said it meant nothing. It literally meant nothing. But these professionals, they would keep their eyes riveted on this E-meter. And they would walk you back through all of the traumas in your life. And when they hit one that was really traumatic, that meter would just go, and they go, okay, that's the one. That's the one we're looking at here. Anyway, so initially he tried to get this accepted by the medical community and the psychological community. He made a big effort. And they all, looked at it, and he wrote journal articles, and they were all rejected. Nobody was buying this stuff.
Right.
He ended up actually losing the rights to his book in 1952.
Yeah.
Everything just basically fell apart.
He went bankrupt, right?
And then in 1954, he regained the rights to his book. He was rejected by the medical community, the psychological community, and so he decided that psychology was evil. In fact, Scientology actually has a museum of psychology somewhere in California, and it's all just like how bad, terrible psychology is.
Oh, really?
It tracks the history of the practice of psychology and how.
So he really hates psychology.
And the documentary I watched said that he found out about the tax-free exempt status of a religious organization.
That's exactly right.
And that's how he ended up making his money back.
That's exactly right. It was in 1954 that he began to pivot the science of Dianetics, the scientific psychological process. He decided to pivot it into a religion, Church of Scientology. He tried out a couple of other names. I don't remember what they are, but it became the Church of Scientology. And he figured out that the best way to handle this was to monetize. And he began charging at the time, this was in the mid-50s,
$500.
Ooh, that's a big chunk of change back
for
in.
24 hours of auditing.
Wow.
Dang.
So you would have X amount of auditing sessions in 24 hours.
We're in the
For
wrong
$500. Yes, exactly. And this thing started to take off, and it's interesting because this is where his whole kind of mind control, sort of reprocessing thoughts and all that stuff.
It's so funny that you said that he actually gives Freud credit. I watched a documentary as a movie. It's got Anthony Hopkins in it. It's called Freud's Last Session. And it's basically about late in Freud's life, he started questioning if God was real. And this no-name scholar come to visit him. This is truth. And the movie is based on, it was possibly C.S. Lewis.
Oh, wow. Cool.
And it's a conversation between C.S. Lewis and
That's awesome.
Freud. It's actually a really good film. I recommend you checking it out. It's pretty cool. Because it's a psychology versus faith.
Does anybody get hacked up in it? Or
No.
Oh, why watch it then?
What a bummer. $500 in the 50s was the equivalent of about $6,500 today.
There you go.
It's a pretty good chunk of change.
That's a chunk of change. Yep.
Well, look, I will do it for $300. All right, today. I got soup cans.
But his whole, philosophy was, as he started building his organization, was, don't give something away for free because then people will take it for granted. They want, charge them for it so that they'll place some value on it. And so this thing began to spread. And
How's
these
that
little,
going for you?
It's going great. Can you not tell?
We saw the Bentley you pulled up.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yes. The Nissan Bentley Juke.
I heard that V10 purring.
It sounded something like...
That's about right.
So he came up. He was like, "But I need a good name." So he's like, "I need a General Xenu."
Oh yeah, this is the weird thing though, because all of that comes later as this whole thing develops, and we're gonna look at that. His first headquarters was in Washington D.C.
Okay.
And they have an actual Scientology museum there. It was not started by the church. It was just kind of
yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so their headquarters now is in Riverside County, California.
Now that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
But the big joint of it is in Florida, ain't it?
They have a center in Clearwater, Florida.
Clearwater. Yep. They said that isn't that considered like the kind of the main HQ?
Well, we'll see that. I got to find the. It has the word gold in it.
See, that's so interesting though, because like it's in California and Florida. A lot of sun bleached people.
Yeah,
yeah, really. That's for sure.
But no, it's funny though because like, but they are everywhere though. Like we were talking about, there's one in Memphis, right?
Yeah. I think so, isn't there?
There was not. I looked on their website. There's not one in Memphis.
Okay. What is the building that I've seen?
I don't know.
Where's it at?
It's in Bartlett. It may be Mormon. Maybe Church of Latter-day Saints.
Could be.
But I could have swore I saw a building that just said Scientology.
It's very possible. They don't list it on their website.
Gotcha.
I went to the Find a Church.
Where's the closest one to us?
Nashville.
Okay, so there is one in Tennessee.
It's pretty big.
Yeah.
And then there's one in Cincinnati. There's
That'd
one
be
in
a long
Atlanta.
drive to go.
I know. I didn't have time to get into some of these stories, but there have been people who have done whole YouTube series on. They actually joined.
Yeah.
For the purpose of
seeing.
It's really crazy. So what happened was he pivoted this into a religion, and this is where he came up with the idea of the Thetan. That the Thetan is the soul. It's you have your soul, and the Thetan is immortal, and it's always reincarnated. So you die, and you don't die. You just transition on to something else.
Gotcha.
Ironically enough, it has one of the highest suicide rates. Because the idea is, I'm going to be reincarnated, so I'd really like to start this whole thing over.
Yeah, it's like, man, I've really screwed this up. Let me just off myself, and I'll come back as
that's exactly right.
A mosquito.
And so through this process, and the idea here is now they've got three sort of tiers of or levels of Scientology. There is public Scientology, which is you just live your normal life. You go do your auditing sessions, and you go to their little. I don't know if it's not really a worship service; it's a gathering of some kind. And then a level above that is a staff member, And then the level above that is what they call the Sea Org.
Yeah.
Sea Org.
That was in
Sea Organization.
Leah Remy's documentary.
Oh, yeah.
So old Tom would be in that one.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise.
It's so, oh, yeah. But, well, actually, I'll talk about the Sea Org in a minute, but their main headquarters in Riverside County, California is called Gold Base.
Okay, Gold
Base. It used to be a resort, and they built onto it and expanded it. It has very high walls with razor wire, and it's got intense security. There are about 1,000 people that live on site.
Wow, geez, they live there.
Yeah, they live there. And this is one of the ways that you can pay for your auditing sessions is to work. And you live there, you work there, very little contact with the outside world, and you basically work. I mean, they work you to death, like 90 hours a week. No weekends. Yeah. I mean, it's like crazy. Then there are other.
You have to pay for your own auditing services.
Yes,
by the way,
do.
Like
yes, you do.
They charge you for that.
Yep. And we'll get into how they scam that as well. But then Flagland Base is in Clearwater, Florida. And so these two headquarters, now Gold Base is where the Sea Org people live. Mm-hmm. And this is like the
cream of the crop.
Yeah, it is. And we'll talk about that. But the idea is that when the Thetan is cleared, and that's part of the deal too, is that there are all of these alien Thetans floating around. And so you probably have like 15 or 20 or maybe 100 of them hanging on you right now.
Right now.
You big Thetan.
That's exactly right. But if you just start with the very basic level of auditing, it'll only cost you about $150. You can begin to get rid of those
Get rid of
Thetans.
some of them
Yeah.
things.
$75. I'll hook you up.
Yeah. Oh, heck yeah.
Want to go up to like 50 grand? I know Leah Remney on the podcast I listened to said that they charged her $300,000 for some of the auditing.
But by the time you get to, we're going to talk about this too.
It gets more expensive as you go.
Once you get past the first levels of auditing, and there are 28 of them. So 28 auditing sessions, they start cheap and they get a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
And don't you have to be like a level 10 to be in one level, like a staff member or something? Then you have to reach a level something to go to the Sea Org.
When you finish all of the 28, then you get to be an OT.
And there's 10 levels of OT, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, there are. And you. So, but you have to demonstrate that you're clear. Mm-hmm. Once you're clear, and you've done the 28 sessions of auditing successfully.
Yeah.
Then you can become an operating Thetan.
Okay, that's what I didn't know what the OT meant.
Operating Thetan.
Gotcha.
So the idea is that you're going to attain this level of autonomy and power.
There's your costs.
Okay, good.
For OT levels, for advanced auditing levels, OT 10, no. I'm not a Roman numeral guy.
That's OT 8.
8. Okay, I see that. Yes. Yeah, it would have an 8 right next to it.
Yeah.
$10,000 to $20,000, and that's just a session. Clear attainment. So does that mean you can like pay? What is the clear attainment?
To go through all the...
you got to pay that before you ever even get here.
Yeah, you're going to pay like a couple $1,000s at a time until you get up to, it'll cost you $30,000.
And it's an additional cost. Just the e-meter is $3,000 to $5,000. Course materials, $1,000 to $3,000.
Yeah.
So this ain't a poor man's religion.
Oh my
you got to
gosh.
be a celebrity or stupid to do it.
Yes.
Or both.
Yeah.
Yeah,
probably both.
Yeah, both.
And so the idea is that once you are clear and once you have attained this level of consciousness, that you are literally capable of anything you can imagine in your mind. You could blow up a planet if you wanted to.
I have always wanted to blow up a planet with my mind.
I know.
Must not be
But
clear.
you are right now capable of anything. You just haven't realized it yet.
I knew it.
Yeah, exactly. They do have a supreme being. They call it the supreme being.
Yep.
But it's a godlike thing. But basically, he's left it open-ended enough to where you will come to realize and understand and personify your supreme being. So the supreme being might be something different to you than it is to me.
Gotcha.
So that's very
For you, it's
convenient.
Very
cockatrice.
much.
Yeah, a god of your own.
Yes, cockatrice.
A god of your own making. Yes. Yeah. And so they actually have 8 dynamics.
Okay.
And I got these smack off the website. It says certain key principles can be broadly employed to improve any condition. Scientologists use these principles in their daily lives, and their use alone can often make the difference between success and failure. So it goes into more, kind of word salad stuff. But it says, L. Ron Hubbard observed and delineated the first 4 of these dynamics in Dianetics. When his research led him into the realm of Scientology, when he turned the corner into religion, he amplified these first 4 and delineated the remaining 4. Okay, so you're going to participate in a much broader spectrum than just yourself. So here's the first dynamic. The first dynamic is self.
Of course. Imagine that.
Exactly.
Much like our last
I see a theme
episode.
here.
Yep.
This is the effort to survive as an individual, to be an individual. It includes one's own body and one's own mind. It's basically survival. Survive as oneself. Second dynamic is creativity. Making things for the future, the family unit, raising children, and of course, the act of procreation. Because we always have to talk about sex when we talk about sex, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's always in there. I don't know. So self-creativity. Third dynamic is group survival, community, right?
Okay. They're killing it.
Could be community, friends, company, social lodge, a state, nation, race, or any group. Then the fourth dynamic is species, the species of mankind.
So you got to preserve the species kind of thing?
Yeah, survival through all mankind and as all mankind. Wow, that's deep. That's really deep. All men and women, because they are men and women, seek to survive as men and women and for men and women. There you go.
There you go.
The fifth dynamic is life forms. Life forms, animals, birds, insects, fish, vegetation. It is the interest in life as such. Okay, so we've got self-creativity, group survival, species, life forms, the physical universe, matter, energy, space, and time. Physical universe and each one of its component parts. The seventh dynamic is the spiritual dynamic. It's the urge to survive as spiritual beings, or the urge for life itself to survive. So this is separate from the physical universe and is the source of life itself. The spiritual dynamic. And then finally, the eighth dynamic is infinity.
Wow. How do you preserve infinity?
Oh, it's going to tell you.
Does that mean everything else?
Probably. Self-creativity, group survival, species, life forms, physical universe, spiritual dynamic, and infinity. The eighth dynamic also is commonly called God, the supreme being or creator, but it is correctly defined as infinity. It actually embraces the allness of all.
I knew it.
Yeah.
Buzz Lightyear was a dang Scientologist.
To infinity and beyond.
And beyond. That is why, according to L. Ron Hubbard, when the seventh dynamic is reached in its entirety, spiritual dynamic, one will only then discover the eighth dynamic.
But
So you just got to keep paying at 7, huh?
Yeah, you just keep on. Well, this podcast listened to today on this subject, again, my very bizarre algorithm of podcasts.
Yes, exactly.
But sorry, God, I'm really not I hope he understands my fast
I think
search.
it'll be all right, yeah.
But the guy in there was talking about this auditing stuff, and one of the hosts, because they were interviewing a dude who was like high up the chain of command in the church. He actually was buddies with that David whatever that's now the leader.
Yeah. That is David, I have it written down right here.
Carsage, or
No.
it's a weird last name.
Yeah. Miss Cabbage.
Miss Cabbage, that's it.
Yeah, David Miscavige, whose wife is missing, by the way, still.
Oh, well, that's interesting. They'll never find her.
She has not been heard from in years.
Yeah, well, he was buddies with him, and who is super buddies with Tom Cruise.
Oh, yeah.
But this dude said, they asked him, they said, do you ever reach a level where you don't have to get audited anymore? And the guy just busted out laughing. And he was like, no. He was like, it doesn't matter how long you've been in there. It don't matter who you are, how rich you are, whatever. He was like, they always can find a reason for you to be audited.
Well, and here's where it gets into being officially classified as a cult as well. Because these are hypnotic mind control sessions.
Yeah.
And honestly, there's some people that have claimed wonderful things, miracles happen to them through these sessions.
Yeah.
Because we know that hypnosis can sometimes be beneficial.
Yeah.
But the idea, though, there's a sinister side to it because of two things. Because they record every one of those sessions.
Yeah.
And so you can imagine if you're a celebrity and
blackmail.
You just told everybody what you did when you were, 17.
Yep.
And yeah, they have total control over that. They own it.
Well, that's what's so, it's creepy to me because there's some strange stuff. I mean, obviously some strange stuff going on here. And I mean, L. Ron, he dabbled in the occult.
Yeah.
So there's probably a pretty heavy amount of demonic influence amongst this church.
No doubt.
So that's the one weird part. Like Pat and I have talked about infiltrating the church just out of our own curiosity kind of prep. But the only part that is weird, I'm like, this is when I read about this and as I was kind of studying for this, I'm like, it's just so bizarre. How can anybody believe this stuff and fall into this? And it's part of me thinks, well, the demonic influence is pretty strong.
Oh, man. It's interesting because I cannot remember the guy's name, but he's well known now. He's British, and he has been leading people away from Scientology for 4 years.
It's got to be the dude I was listening to today.
Probably was.
Because he's British.
Yeah. It's got to be the same guy.
He's with Leah Remini on a podcast now.
Okay. Yeah, it's got to be the same thing.
Let me tell you.
John is his first name.
Wow, this lady has not been seen since 2007.
I know.
And the police went searching, and they just reported that she was unfounded.
Yeah.
Unfounded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll find that. Y'all keep on rolling. I'm gonna find his name.
Anyway, so they.
Is it Mike Render?
No.
No, that's the spokesman for Scientology.
He was because he's got a thing called Scientology Fair Game, which is a first-hand inside look. But he's kind of a British he had an interesting accent.
Yeah. This guy's name is John. I cannot remember his name, but anyway, he talks about all kinds of things. But one of the things that he and Leah Remini both talk about is the fact that you can go through an audit, even some of the high-level $10,000 audits, and they'll say, you know what, it just didn't work.
Gonna need to do that again.
At your own expense. Yeah. They can scam you all the way back down to the bottom.
Wow.
Yeah. So one of the biggest obstacles after they declared themselves a religion was tax exempt status.
Yeah.
And that's what he was after. Because he was after. Honestly,
didn't he get arrested for it though?
Oh yeah. Well, no, he never got arrested for tax evasion. He got investigated, and then he ended up suing the IRS like 1,000 times or something like that, and they just finally gave up and said, okay. But here's this.
Is that him? I'd never seen what he looked like.
Yeah, that was him younger. Yeah,
that's kind of what I would imagine.
These are some quotes from him before we get into the Sea Org, because we need to spend some time on the Sea Org. But he says the only way you can control people is to lie to them. You can write that down in your book in great big letters. The only way you can control anybody is to lie to them.
That's good.
His most famous quote is, "You don't get rich writing science fiction. If you want to get rich, you start a religion."
I've heard that one, because that's the one where I'm like, how do you not just listen to that and be like,
I know,
red flag?
And then it's similar quote: "If you want to make a little money, write a book. If you want to make a lot of money, create a religion." Yeah. And then
also probably condemning yourself to terrible eternity.
Yeah, yes, exactly. I got to read you this other quote here. You're going to love this.
Was it John Sweeney?
Nope, it was not. It's I know it if you told me about it, but I can't put my tongue on it right now. Okay, so this little article says, scholars and journalists note that profit is the primary motivating goal of Hubbard's Scientology groups. Those making these observations have often referred to a governing financial policy issued by Hubbard that is to be obeyed by all Scientology organization staff members, which includes the following, and this has like uppercase all the way through.
It means business.
Make sure that lots of bodies move through the shop. A, make money. B, make money. C, all the way to J, make more money. K, make more money. L, make other people produce so as to make money. However you get them in or why, just do it.
And do people just not look at this stuff?
This is in their handbook for their staff.
why does this not raise any eyebrows?
Because they're already in and they're already making money. And so this is when he's putting together his upper echelon of managers. They're the in crowd. They're living in the lap of luxury in this resort somewhere. And he says, okay, here's the goal of our organization: make money, then make more money, then manipulate people to produce so we can make even more money.
Is Kenneth Copeland, is he a Scientologist?
I would not at all be surprised.
Only other one I see is John
just telling
Dellon.
you. No, it'll come to me.
John Candy.
Yeah, that's that's it.
Yeah. It's a very, very deep rabbit hole to go into.
Yeah, he also says we've got some new ways to make slaves around here.
True.
He sounds like a real good guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that was one thing that was interesting. The dude that I listened to on this podcast, because he was on a ship with David.
Yeah, you're talking about Mike Render.
Mike Render.
Yeah, he was the former spokesman.
Yep, that's the one.
And he said that L. Ron was like, when he walked in, he had, I think we've actually talked about before, maybe on off air or on air, whatever. But we talked about how a movie star, like people say when Brad Pitt walks into a room, even if you don't see him, you just feel you're like, the air just changed. That it factor of like a movie star. Basically, the gist I got from listening to Mike Render was L. Ron had that it factor. If he had chose to like maybe go into film or something, he could have exploded. Instead, he decided to create a religion.
Yeah.
But that's what the dude was like. He had a charismatic presence, and he like wanted to like be around the guy.
Yeah.
So he could kind of suck you in. So
What?
John Atack.
John Atack. Okay.
Yeah. And this was an incredibly great video that I watched. And he had something called the honesty box. And he was pulling questions out of the honesty box. And it was funny because he pulled another one out and he said, oh, I wish I hadn't gotten this one. The question was, who did you believe you were in a previous life? He said, for a long time, I believed I was Henry Matisse, the famous artist.
Yeah.
And then for a while, I believed I was Buddha. He says it's really narcissistic.
I was going to say, very arrogant.
Exactly.
Nobody, I feel like everybody believes that there's something way better than probably what it would have been.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's going to be like, I was the janitor over at Chuck E. Cheese.
I was the bag boy at Piggly Wiggly.
Yes.
He has some really bizarre things to talk about. So let's first of all, okay. So we've tracked it all the way through from being a public Scientologist all the way to now an operating Thetan, right?
Yeah.
When you get to operating Thetan, you now have the power to control the world around you. You can manipulate life, energy, and matter. You can also leave your body and travel around in
like astral projection.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
So you got to work your way through, and there's lots of levels of operating Thetan. The cheapest.
I will only hear that in Mike Tyson's voice.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. The base level is about $3,000. And once again, if you're not totally clear, if you haven't been clear,
do it again.
You got to do that one again. So after they had originally 3 levels of operating Thetan. But after the 3rd level, there was a major discovery by L. Ron himself.
4th level?
Oh, there's actually 8
5
levels.
more.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
He's like,
We got to keep this going.
Now this is where it gets really bizarre because there are books that he wrote about these upper levels of OT, but they're all kept secret. But you can they've been leaked. Like you could go to WikiLeaks right now and you could
read them.
You could read about this stuff. But basically, you've already opened the can. So here's the basics of this story, and this is as you're auditing up through OT. This is what you will get to. And Leah Remini on the Rogan podcast said almost nobody gets there.
Really?
Yeah, there are a select few that do. But you get to this higher level of consciousness where you understand that 75 million years ago, there was an ancient being, Xenu.
Yep.
He was the dictator of the Galactic Confederacy. Like you said, he brought the humans to Earth, he dropped them into volcanoes and killed them, releasing their thetans into the environment. These thetans are angry and upset, and they are now causing us, they are harassing us to be infected and affected by these negative emotions.
They're holding us back.
Yeah, and like we Christians just call them demons.
Yes.
Yeah, and
yeah.
They didn't come from volcanoes, they came from, giants. But anyway... So this is the whole idea. Once you get to operating Thetan, is you're now going to overcome these. It's not just your own past anymore. It's not your own. Now you're gonna attack all of these negative emotions, these renegade Thetans, but it's dangerous. There's resistance, and you might get plagued with many illnesses. It's not for the faint of heart. It's not, and this is why you might have to try a few times. To get past this. And this is what they don't like. They don't like to let this get out. They don't like people talking about Xenu, which is why they hated the South Park episode. Because so by the time you get to OT3, this is after you pass 28, you will have spent an additional $100,000.
Golly, that's crazy.
I know it is. But if you continue to go on, then you can be eligible to be part of the Sea Org.
One of the big dogs.
Yeah. So,
but you still get audited.
Oh, you never stop. Yeah, that's exactly right. Now, okay, so L. Ron died in 1986 at his ranch. The church's official statement that you'll find on the website is that he didn't die. He just no longer needs his body.
So I was going to say, did he reach infinity or whatever?
Apparently,
and
probably.
Beyond.
Yeah. And so he still continues to write and research, just not with his body. So that's how they get new revelation.
All right. Okay, that makes sense, because in the podcast that I was listening to, the guy that was talking like, do you ever reach the point where you never have to get audited anymore? He said no, because he said the people in charge will always miraculously discover another thing.
That's exactly right.
And so that's what it is. They could just be like, man, we had this revelation from Elron. He gave us this.
So now you need 3 more audits to get to this higher level. Yeah. Okay. So the Sea Org is one of the most important things in the church. It was created in 1967 because of tax purposes.
Yeah.
So it's like, we can't establish a headquarters on land, so we're going to go out to sea. And so he commissioned these 3 ships, the Avon River, the Enchanter, and the HMS Royal Scotsman. And so he built this floating headquarters. And only the elite and the upper echelon got to be on the ships. Yeah. The Sea Org, they still have a ship. It's called the Free Winds, but it's really used as kind of like a resort or a retreat these days, because the Sea Org now exists at Gold Base.
So they're on the land now.
Yeah. And David Miscavige has a secret residence somewhere on the property of Gold Base because he doesn't like to be served papers. That's exactly it. So the Sea Org, if you are chosen, if you're accepted, you have to apply. You have to go through all the processes, and then you actually live on site. This is where these 1,000 people are, and there are strict rules. They all wear military uniforms. They look exactly like U.S. Coast Guard, so not very inventive.
Yeah.
They actually wear ribbons and some of the little medals and stuff like that. They don't mean anything.
Yeah.
In fact, it's really against the law for them to wear those things.
It's like stolen valor.
Yeah, it's exactly right. When you sign up for Sea Org, you sign a 1 billion-year contract.
That's what this dude said.
Yeah. 1 billion years.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
But you never die, so.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So that's really, a small price to pay.
Yeah.
1 billion years. So you live on site. You don't own property. You eat and you sleep and you live everything. Once you're in the Sea Org, that's it. You're only allowed to date or marry fellow Sea Org people. And this guy, this John fella, he says it's ridiculous because people will get into the Sea Org, 3 days later they're married. Because premarital sex is not allowed.
Oh, yeah, so you got to get married.
Yeah, get married. And he said, did they ever get divorced? And he said, every other week.
Yeah.
They just get divorced, and then they marry somebody else.
So it doesn't matter. Like they don't put much vow on the marriage or whatever.
No, they do not. Everybody gets a salary of $50 a week, and that can be docked if you step out of line.
So this is like the highest level you can get to.
Yeah. Well, now keep in mind there is the organization, the CEOs, the executive.
Yeah.
They're there at the Sea Org. David Miscavige is there. They occupy a whole different thing. These are aspiring, like David Miscavige was a Sea Org.
Okay.
And he worked his way up close to L. Ron, and so he naturally stepped into his position when L. Ron, didn't need his body anymore.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about, again, Tom Cruise. Tom is not there in the Sea Org wearing a military uniform.
No,
but he is in the upper echelon.
He is, but we'll talk about this in a second. They have this other thing called the Celebrity Center.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And that's where the celebrity people never get to the Sea Org. They're eye candy. They give them all these privileges. Yeah. So here's the weird part about it, though, is if you're in the Sea Org, even if you're married, you can't have children.
Yep.
No children allowed. If you have children or you decide to, you're out of the Sea Org.
Yep.
You're back to public.
Wow.
Apparently, it just doesn't fit with the whole mission of the organization. And it's even to the point where now they categorically are against abortion, but they will force you to have abortion. There are many forced abortions.
Like if you were like, I don't want to leave, then they're like, you're going to get an abortion.
Yeah, you accidentally get pregnant with your wife. It's like, no, she's got to get an abortion.
Wow.
Yeah, it is.
Now, if they kicked you out of the Sea Org, they kick you completely out of the religion?
No.
Because they don't want you out of the religion.
Yeah, they still want you slave labor.
They bump you down. So now you're either a staff member, which is staff members, operate in the real world, or you're just public. You're just a regular churchgoer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's...
So they want their thumb on you still. They don't want to just boot you out the door.
And they also have this concept that they preach called that if you're really like faithful and true, they have a silent birth, that the woman will have a silent birth.
What is that?
That she will not make any noise when she's having birth.
And they don't use like medical, like they don't use...
I don't even know about that.
Because I know, that's what, like John Travolta's kid died.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because
from the lack of medical assistance.
They don't go to doctors. That's right. So anyway...
But they eat the placenta.
Okay, so also, let me...
Nama.
Do you know that? They eat the placenta.
Really?
I'm pretty sure Tom Cruise, didn't he eat the placenta of when Katie and him?
It seems like I heard that. I went down the Tom Cruise rabbit hole like for this, and she left. It's interesting. Tom's first wife, Mimi Rogers, got him into Scientology in the 90s. Katie Holmes, who he was married to for a little while, left him because of Scientology. Like she was like just too weirded out. Right. I did know that. Yes. I'm trying to find out what he calls the past traumas, and I can't find it on my.
Let me see
notes.
if I had any of that in here.
It's here somewhere. Oh yeah, they're called engrams.
Okay.
Yep.
Engrams.
Not enneagrams. Engrams.
No, engrams. Yep. And the idea is that your engrams are your past traumas, and so you go all the way not only back to your birth. That's your earliest human trauma. But then now you can go back into past lives, other universes, other galaxies when you lived way back then. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
When I was bleep blorp, bleep blorp.
Yeah, that's exactly.
That's funny. I don't even remember what I ate for lunch a couple days ago.
So the idea of silent birth is that you don't want the infant to have negative engrams.
Oh, okay.
Because it's too much of a trauma. Yeah, so you keep them clear.
Safe space.
Clear. Yeah, because then they'll have to be audited at like 2 years old. And you don't want that. So anyway, so that's that. They did establish the Celebrity Center to actively recruit celebrities. So why don't you tell us some of the celebrities that are... We've heard a few of them already.
All right, so I got two lists. So this one just rundown of of celebrities here, Tom Cruise is number one.
Yeah,
like
for
he
sure.
is.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I
he's
feel
all
like
the way in.
everybody knows Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
John Travolta.
Yeah.
Kirstie Alley.
Yep.
Lisa Marie Presley.
Wow.
That one kind of surprised me.
Yeah. For sure.
Isaac Hayes and Beck. Beck is a Scientologist.
The artist?
Yes.
Wow.
No, I didn't care for his music anyway.
Yeah. Well,
Erica Christensen. Do y'all know who that is?
no, I know.
All right, so then the others I looked at was who was people that Tom Cruise specifically has recruited.
Oh boy.
And his confirmed recruits, Katie Holmes was one.
Yep.
His ex-wife. He recruited Beck and Laura Prepon from that 70s show.
Oh, wow.
A lot of that cast actually is Scientology.
Well, Danny Masterson, and the church had covered up the rape scandals and all that. Like,
Kurtwood Smith and Laura Prepon.
oh, yeah. Well, the alleged recruits is he supposedly recruited John Travolta, Kirstie Alley, Lisa Marie Presley, Isaac Hayes, Nancy Cartwright, and rumored recruits is Will Smith and Jada
wow.
Pinkett Smith.
Oh my gosh. That
So-
answers a lot of questions, actually.
It does. And then defectors, I guess that he had recruited, Leah Remini was one of them.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
she is like staunchly
oh
outspoken
my
against it now.
gosh. She is. Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, in all honesty, she was like, her life was in danger whenever she
Absolutely.
came out because they don't play around.
Well, they have this this team, this reclamation team.
Yeah.
And they will. This John Caton or whatever his name is said that they tracked him for 14 years.
Good Lord.
And they have this process. I can't remember what they call it, but basically they will find all of your acquaintances, your doctor, your lawyer, your barber, your librarian, your family members, everything, and they will approach them either by phone or in person, and they'll say, we've been doing some looking into Logan Hanks, and we found some very interesting things.
Yeah.
And they'll tell the stories about alleged sexual assault and financial impropriety. They just dog you down.
Yeah.
And in hopes that they'll give up your location, and they'll you won't be able to go back to them, and all these different kinds of things. It's absolutely nuts. He discovered that they spent hundreds of thousands of dollars just trying to get to him.
That's the Mike guy in that other show. That was his job.
Okay.
He
Wow.
said that was his job. He said that, and he said their word was find the enemies of Scientology and destroy them.
Yes,
So
exactly. That you don't deserve to live.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dougie Doug was in Scientology.
Who?
Now, Dougie Fresh?
Oh, Dougie Fresh.
Now, this says that Beck was a former member.
Okay.
Katie Holmes is no longer. Nicole Kidman is no longer. Jason Lee. Juliette Lewis, I guess she was too.
Well, she's weird. I don't know.
Lauren Pepperin, it said Lisa Marie Presley left.
She left.
John Stamos. Uncle Jesse was
What?
a Scientologist.
Wow.
What?
Oh man.
Dang.
It says Isaac Hayes left.
He did leave the
And,
church.
and Kirstie Alley.
Yeah, I was thinking Kirstie Alley had left.
I was pretty sure about that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also Van Morrison.
Really? He still or was?
No, he like left almost immediately. He got in. It was like,
Well,
nope, I ain't hanging with this.
My I've always wanted to go to Area 51 because I just want to know what's in there. And you talking about their base
I know.
and this
I know.
thing, it makes me want to
I know.
covertly
I know.
infiltrate.
I know.
But the crazy part is what scares me is there is, like we said, there is demonic influence. So I feel like if you go around there, you're dabbling, even if you're trying to expose it, you're opening yourself up for potential demonic influence. And it's obviously got some pretty strong pull power.
Well, certainly L. Ron Hubbard probably did more than just dabble in the occult, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and this is where and it bears so much of the the traits of New Age movement, all these other kinds of things. So this clearly, and just the mind manipulation and the thought control. And this desire for, it is a greed-based religion. It just is.
Yeah, not even hiding it. Yeah.
No, I know. And one of the things that this guy said also was that they will tell you hey, just take out a loan. Take out a loan. Give us the 20 grand. And with the power that you will receive from these sessions, you'll make that money back in a month, in a year. It doesn't matter. He said that one of his friends, mortgaged everything, took out all of his assets, $400,000.
Oh my gosh.
$400,000, and then ended up dying from a heart attack a week later.
Wow. Well,
That's wild.
Yeah.
And Kirstie Alley didn't quit. She died.
Oh, that's
She
right.
died?
She did. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
okay. I think I do remember that. Well, that's what I wonder about Isaac Hayes. I didn't think he left. Thought he just died as a Scientologist.
He might have. Okay, so let's spend the last bit talking about this guy, David Miscavige.
Yeah.
Apparently, he is a incredibly awful person. Like spawn of Satan.
See what you did there.
He is. He is living the lifestyle. I mean, he is. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, his best friend is Tom Cruise.
Well, but which is really odd because this guy apparently has a terribly evil temper, and he has sort of upped the ante as far as keeping the lid on things and keeping people in line, and he will physically assault staff members or fellow executives if he feels like they're doing wrong.
Well, yeah, what I was reading, it said once you reach level OT3, when you go through what's called the Wall of Fire, when you go through that, you sign NDAs.
Yes,
like non-disclosure
absolutely.
agreements and all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So anything that he does, anyways, if you talk about, he can sue the pants off of
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly right. He started this thing called the Rehabilitation Project Force, and it's like their little army. And if you step out of line, it's intended. It's a system of work camps intended to isolate and rehabilitate members who have not lived up to the church's expectations.
That's what I was talking about, like the tent city.
Yeah.
Or have failed security checks or have violated certain policies. RPF groups are located within the Sea Org facilities, and there are no locks on the doors.
Yeah.
They have grueling treatment. According to one, they work 8 hours of physical work 6 days a week, painting, plumbing, upkeep of grounds, carpentry, all those kinds of things. They must also spend 5 hours a day studying with an auditing partner.
Yep.
Good Lord.
Yeah, this John Atack wrote this book called A Piece of Blue Sky. He says the treatment of Sea Org members in the RPF was a careful imitation of techniques long used by the military to obtain unquestioning obedience and immediate compliance to orders, or more simply, to break men's spirit.
Yep. And most of these people, too, in there were women.
Many, yes, exactly. They ate leftover food. Oftentimes there would be roaches or maggots in their food.
Jeez.
They had to wear black armbands or black boiler suits. They had to run everywhere between their jobs. They could not walk. If they got out of line, they would have to run a lap. And the slightest infraction, like failing to address a senior with "sir," would get them extra work time.
These guys just wanted to be the military.
Yeah, you really need to watch that documentary, Going Clear. It specifically talks about that part of it.
Yeah.
And it is wild. Like, people try to escape, and they will stop you.
Absolutely.
Like, they will track you down and lock you up.
Yeah, and of course, a fraternal paramilitary organization is the way one guy describes it. They were instructed to read The Art of War, On War. It's absolutely bizarre. But then, even worse, is something called The Hole. And this fascinated me. I had to print off this whole thing about The Hole.
Yeah, I ain't heard of this one.
Yeah, it is a detention building. Basically, it's like two huge double-wide trailers.
That might be what I was talking about. That may have been what I was thinking about.
The work camps are like, you still go back to your dorm room, that kind of thing.
Yeah, then this is definitely what I was talking about.
But if you really mess up, now there are a lot of senior executives that Miscavige has, beat up in the office and sent them to the hole. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All these double wide trailers within the compound. So it's a place of confinement and humiliation where Scientology's management culture grows extreme. Inside, a who's who of Scientology leadership goes at each other with brutal tongue lashings and even hands and fists. They intimidate each other into crawling on their knees, standing in trash cans, and confessing to things they hadn't done. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of sleep deprivation. They will keep you up for days. Church of Scientology, here, you need to hear this. The executives confined at the hole are reported to have numbered up to 100 of the most senior figures in Scientology's management, including the Church of Scientology's international president, Hubbard. They are said to have spent months or even years there.
Good Lord.
Yes, several of them spent 2 years or more there. After a few managed to escape, they gave accounts of their experiences to the media, the courts, and the FBI. Church of Scientology has denied these accounts. In fact, it says that the hole does not exist and never has, and nobody has ever been held against their will.
Yeah, I'd be like the little boy from Talladega Nights. Oh, Nana, not my prison chain.
Yeah. It says defectors from Scientology say that from around 2002, church leader David Miscavige began to publicly slap, kick, punch, or shove executives at the base who had angered him.
He looks like he'd fit in right up there with Joel Osteen.
Completely. Kenneth Copeland, all those guys. Yes, yep. Absolutely.
Looks like a great televangelist.
I know. He really does. He was constantly berating them, nitpicking everything they're doing, pointing out inadequacies, ineffectiveness, lack of results, so on and so forth. He's the only one who can do anything right, all that stuff.
He looks like a freaking twig pencil neck you could knock around. He just thinks he's got the power, I guess.
He does, because if you were to strike back, I mean, who knows what would happen?
I was going to say, you'd probably vanish.
Yeah, but I'd hit him with that one-hitter quitter, man.
Yeah. He routinely berates subordinates by email with code words or code abbreviations such as CSMF.
You going to say what that is?
No. YSCOHB.
Wow. Okay, that one I would not have figured out.
You can look that one up on Wikipedia if you've got the stomach for it.
Yeah, that one would be a little too rebellious even for us.
If you've seen The Exorcist, some of those are in there.
Yes, yeah.
On Hollywood Boulevard, is that like a slur towards some of his celebrity people? Yep. So he'll berate the celebrities.
Absolutely. Yeah. Then they have they still do actually. But only on the ship. It's a practice called overboarding. If you got out of line, and L. Ron did this himself, and David Miscavige still does it to this day, be out at sea, and they would actually tie your ankles, blindfold you, and throw you overboard. And in those big ships, it can be 50, 60 feet down.
Yeah.
It's not going to feel so good. You can't swim out of it. And oftentimes, they would actually go into a harbor where there was all of this sewage dumping going on. And so you would be overboarded. You can't really swim well. You can't see anything. It's like you'd have to get out of the ankle and restraints and then try to find your way somewhere. Yeah. So you don't want to get out of line. They adopted a land-based version of overboarding by making staff members stand against a wall while other Scientologists threw buckets of water at them. How about that? They discontinued this, but then Miscavige reintroduced it and ordered dozens of senior executives to go outdoors in the middle of the night and assemble at the base's swimming pool or its muddy lake. Then they would jump or be pushed into the water, often in freezing conditions, while fully clothed and with Miscavige watching.
Man, he's a weirdo. It's just so...
It blows my mind that people can get a gunshot off at Trump, but not this guy.
Yeah.
I did not read this part. This is new to me. In the late fall of 2004, he called together 70 senior executives in a pair of double-wide trailers, normally used as the international management team's office. They were ordered to play a game of musical chairs in the management conference room. How about that? Those who failed to get a chair when the music stopped would be offloaded from the base, away from their spouses and children, to languish in the most remote and unpleasant locations in their empire. As Queen's Greatest Hits was played, the competition for seats became increasingly fierce. By the time the number had dwindled to 20, people were throwing one another against the walls, ripping seats from one another's hands, wrestling one another to the floor. And then he made them all sleep under the tables until further notice.
Man, he must have dirt on. I mean, that's the only thing. He's got to have some serious dirt on these people.
I don't know. I just. It goes on to talk about the whole. They were kept in these trailers. They were let out to take a 30-second shower every other day. I mean, it's just crazy. But one thing that we can determine through all this,
they need to be throat punched.
Oh my gosh. First of all, I think we can absolutely categorically define it as a cult.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, when you start, when you get people to do these kind of things, like, it always blows my mind. How do you get people involved in this?
I know.
And you know how it is, man. People thought Hitler had a great speech at first.
Yeah.
But it's so weird. Like, when we look at, like, Jonestown, and we look at, like, the Branch Davidians, and we look at all these groups, it's very similar mentality. Is, first of all, the world is wrong. All other religions are wrong. I have the answers.
Yeah.
This is how you get there.
Well,
and regardless of how you're treated, it's for your own good.
Yeah.
And it also, there's a promise of some further enlightenment that nobody else in the world is going to be able to attain but you.
Yep.
This is what we discovered with the whole Satanism thing last week, right?
Yeah.
You're going to get some secret power, secret ability that nobody else has.
Well, Tom Cruise, one of the things that hooked him pretty early on, they said, was apparently Tom was dyslexic. And when his wife introduced him in the 90s to the Church of Scientology, he read Dianetics and got into the Scientology thing. And he says that it cured his dyslexia.
Yeah, because in Top Gun, he kept saying he had the speed for need, And
Well, and, honestly, it's very possible that it could have helped him with his dyslexia, because hypnotism, he could have just gone to a regular, therapy session and probably helped overcome that.
Well, that's what I was looking at. I was like, how do people get sucked into this thing? And that's what it says. They have 5 recruitment tactics. Mm-hmm. And the first one is a free personality test.
That's exactly right.
And everybody today loves the personality test.
They
and
love them.
Your Enneagram.
I mean,
and
it's no different than today, though. Like, we talk about people all the time. How do you get sucked into TikTok? And then next thing you know, like 85 videos later, you're still there.
But to believe like General Xenu and like all this, like,
I know.
And then they got the number 2 is emotional manipulation, which is as recruiters exploit emotional weaknesses.
Yes.
3 is social pressure. Existing members encourage friends and family. 4 is the celebrity endorsements, famous members. And I guarantee you there are some people that think, man, if I join this church and work my way up, I'll get to hang out with Tom Cruise and John Travolta.
And I'll get all these good acting jobs.
Yeah. It'll make my career. And, they do, like I said, with Danny Masterson, the church covered up like some rape and stuff.
Man, I heard a good quote, is dumb stuff out of smart people's mouth is still dumb stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Well, and it's interesting, too, because this guy was talking about the fact, first of all, they never recruit disabled people.
Yep.
Because they want a worker, man.
Yeah, they want the best. They want the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
And they want people that have money.
But they don't want you to reproduce.
No, they don't. Well, on the public level, that's not a problem. As long as you have a silent birth.
Yeah.
But they don't recruit people with histories of, like psychological disorders. Because they want to create those for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the documentaries I watched one time about, because I've watched one, it may have been with Leah or something, but they were talking about this would probably be on the public level. One of the dudes turned in his own wife.
Yep.
Because she started to question the leadership and like question the church, and he literally turned in his own wife.
Man, look, dude, you can go on YouTube and just go filming the Church of Scientology.
Oh man, you can go all the way down
And
that trail.
literally, people will just go to the not even on the property. They'll be at the street just videoing the church, and security will come out and talk to you.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, you know, airports, the general area used to be open. Like you could, when we would arrive at the airport, or when we would go pick somebody up, we'd go all the way through, all the way in. You walk through a little metal detector, you know, and you walk and you'd be sitting there and waiting for them when they go off. And so the airport was just kind of an open space. And I remember, and this guy was talking about, we'd go out with clipboards and we'd have, you know, these bizarre questions. You know, it's like, what do you want to be?
Yeah.
What do you want to do? You know, well, all of this is possible. Why don't you take this free personality test? And I remember, like, these clipboard people were everywhere.
Yeah.
And not all of them were Scientology. Some of them were. Others were, you know, from, we had lots of cults up there. We're going to talk about a couple of them, I think, next week. But yeah, then some of these, they were like, you know, these sort of glassy-eyed people. And, you know, you could tell that something very strange was going on.
Yeah.
But one of the questions he pulled out of the honesty box was, what got you, you know, you're an intelligent guy. What happened? How did you get sucked into that? And he said, I'll just be honest. I was heartbroken. He said, I was a drummer in a band, and I was like 20 years old or something like that. And he said, I'd been living with my girlfriend for 15 months, and I went on this little trip, and I came back, and she was gone. And I was devastated. I didn't know what to do. I really, really needed some help. And I looked a couple of places, didn't really find much satisfaction at all. And then a friend said, hey, come check this out. It'll not only help you get over your heartbreak, but it will
bring
empower
you success.
Yes, exactly. I mean, that's the thing, you know, take this free personality test.
Musicians, man, suckers born every day.
And then the next question that he pulled out was, well, do you regret your participation in it, or are there some things you miss, or, you know, things like that? And he said, well, you know, honestly, there was a sense of camaraderie, and you know, like we're all on a mission to change the world. That part was cool. It was really, I met some cool people. But he said, do I regret anything? He said, no. He said, because it took him like, I don't know, 12 years or something like this. He said, I finally woke up and I finally got out. And he said, I've personally responsible for over 1,000 people leaving that whole thing.
Yeah. See, that in itself is odd, because when you ask most Army guys, at least in my experience with my veteran friends, is they'll say, what do you miss? And they'll say the brotherhood and the structure. Yeah. And that's really it. You don't ever hear someone say, well, you know, I miss the PT, or, you know, this, that, and third. It's the brotherhood and the structure. And I think that, honestly, is a big part of these cults. Yeah. Is you got a bunch of people believing with you. Yes. And they are all structured. They all introduce their own rule list, you know, their own way of doing things. Completely. And it feels legit that way.
And especially when your life has been overturned. You know, if you're emotionally vulnerable, if you are, you know, in a state of flux, and this is, he said, we target people like this. You know, if somebody's crying in the corner, let's go.
Well, and I feel like young, starry-eyed people is like,
for sure,
prime suspect,
because let me get them thetans off.
You're looking, you're looking for meaning and purpose in life. Yeah, and so you know, you kind of, and here's the other thing too. Is when life is uncertain and scary, and you're vulnerable, you don't know what your next move is. You're just not existing and floating around. The thing that helps you is certainty. Yeah, you just want some certainty in your life, and this is what we're seeing a lot in, you know, kind of the mixed up political world we have right now. People will actually believe stuff that is not true. Yep. Yeah. Because it's certain. As long as I, you know, and they will
even
accept
if it's bad,
lock, stock, and barrel, because it provides them with certainty. Yep. We see this in Christianity, even. You know, these ultra fundamentalist type churches. They're very legalistic. Yep. They tell you exactly what you can do and exactly what you can't do. Yeah. And it's like, baby. I feel good about that. Now I don't even have to wonder. Yeah. Am I, you know, is this a gray area? There are no gray areas.
Black and white. Yeah. All the way.
Yeah. This is the way the men are supposed to act this way. The women are supposed to act this is what you never do. This is what you always do. And it just all comes together. And, you know, and I've been listening to this a couple of these podcasts. I need to stop listening to
The
them.
patriarchy ones.
Sons of Patriarchy is one of them, about the whole,
I was
weird.
just thinking that as you said that, I was sitting there thinking, you know, it's funny that white males always come out on top of these.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I think we're going to do an episode on that, on the whole Moscow, Idaho thing.
We should.
It's crazy. But there's this other podcast called Heaven Bent, and it is sort of exposing the ultra. Well, we talked about it. The New Apostolic Reformation, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This ultra charismatic, signs and wonders, and feathers fall from the sky, and your teeth you turn to gold teeth, and all this stuff. And the woman that does this is not a Christian anymore. You can go into the theology. Was she ever? I don't know. Whatever. But there is so much of this certainty thing in that world, that it becomes literally a game of mind control. And the temptation is on both sides. If you're a charismatic person and you realize that you have a little bit of sway over people, and actually you say things and people follow you, that can become intoxicating.
Oh yeah.
And you all of a sudden, it's like, how intoxicated must L. Ron Hubbard have been when he realized that all these people are going to sign up and pay $500 for these sessions of auditing with a soup can.
Yeah.
Man, I'm going to
wow, people are actually doing this. Okay, I need to write another book.
Yeah.
All the viewers out there, no matter what it is, I don't care if it's your job, if it's in church, wherever it is. If you ever encounter a leader that hasn't once told you, I don't know, be careful. Be careful, because how many times have just us three, had conversations that we've all told each other, man, I really don't know.
We said it about 15 times just tonight.
I just don't know.
But see, then there's the temptation on the other side. Is when you are in those vulnerable places, or you are searching for meaning and purpose in life, just like what Pat said, the temptation is to find somebody or some system or some structure that's going to tell you exactly how to be.
Yeah.
And that sometimes that can be a positive thing. I'm sure people that went into military wild as a buck.
Oh, for
and
sure.
they needed to learn that discipline. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And it was a really good thing for them.
It just made me disciplined and wild.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I got good at not getting caught.
But on a long-term basis, when it becomes be very, very wary of certainty.
Yeah.
Because even God does not operate in the world of certainty.
That's right.
There are certain things that there's certain policies and dare I say commandments and things like that. But God is just that whole grace thing and that whole mercy thing, and that He allows us to be who He created us to be.
Yeah.
You know what the gray area is? It's imperfect humans operating under a perfect God.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
what that gray area is.
Yeah.
But we don't even see in Scripture that God is so rigid that He always treats every situation the same way every single time.
Yeah.
Only person God ever overboarded was Jonah.
Yeah, Jonah. And he overboarded himself, honestly.
Yeah.
But you see God dealing with different people in different ways, even under the similar circumstances.
Yeah.
And you look through the Gospels and you look at Jesus and how He handled people. Once again, you look at the different ways that He healed the blind people. Mm-hmm. One time He just spoke. One time He did the clay thing.
Spitting,
He just.
I remember that you spit in a sermon.
Yes, I do. A lot of spit. So certainty is generally not your friend.
Well, and if somebody was considering, I think one of the big things that pulls people in, definitely certainty, but something that we've talked about on past episodes is community.
Absolutely.
And that's where, like you said, the camaraderie that people miss. And man, if you get plugged into a good church,
I was just thinking that same thing.
You don't live together there, but you've got a community. You have people, you see them Sunday, you can see them Wednesday, you can call them, y'all can have life groups. You can be in that community, and they're not making you go dig ditches for 8 hours and then do
sleep under the table.
Yes.
You want to know my metric of gauging a healthy church is when people meet other than Sunday.
Yeah.
And we got that in the buttload in our community.
Yeah.
We got people that meet on Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, name it. Like a night that ends in Y, people are meeting.
I was just watching a little webinar the other day, and they said, honestly, a sign that your church is alive and growing is how long people linger after worship service. Do they just bolt to their cars, or do you kind of have to move them out the way?
Yeah.
And both services, I have a hard time getting to my office after the first service so I can get ready for the second service, because we're all just sort of
chatting.
hanging out. Yeah. And it's funny because, I remember when I first came, it was like, they said, now, we really like you to stand by the door so you can shake hands with everybody. It helps you get to know people. And it's like,
you don't get to make it to the door.
Well, I do. I walk to the door while I'm praying. And I stand right there. And nobody comes through the door. It's like they're all just standing around. There'll be like 5 or 6 people. And then it's like, I got to go to them and walk back through them. And that's a really cool thing. And, most of the time at the later service, we're, obviously we're the last ones out, but it can be sometimes, almost 1 o'clock by the time we even leave the building. And I love that. I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
That's the kind of community we want.
Yeah.
Yes.
That, where there's something pulling us together and holding us together. There's not a bunch of rules and some Xenu character.
Tell the viewers the truth. We really lock the doors, and we'll throw a piece of bread because they haven't eaten in 2 weeks, and we'll say best man win.
Yeah.
We got Wednesday's leftover pizza, and all that stuff. No, it is. It is a really positive way to be a part of the community, and that's what we're looking for. We're not looking for, when you take your whole mental health and your mental well-being, your emotional and your spiritual direction, you put it squarely in the hands of someone else.
It's dangerous.
It is really dangerous.
It is. Yeah, it definitely is.
And beware when you are in those emotionally vulnerable moments. Somebody's going to come up with a clipboard.
I was just going to say,
take a free personality test.
For every to be a victim, there has to be a predator.
Wow, completely.
Well, and like I said, man, I feel like I come back to this quite a bit, but don't go dabbling. Don't be meddling.
True.
Hey, that's
so true.
You open yourself up for. I mean, that as huge as the Church of Scientology has grown, and the amount of members they have, and they got the famous people, and they got this, that there's some sort of pull there.
Well,
for sure.
Part of it too is our fault. We can admit that in the 90s, the church didn't do anyone any favors, especially then we went from the satanic panic to, the purity culture to the megachurch culture. We jumped from one extreme to the other, and it hasn't been the most inviting. And so I think we're doing a way better job today than we were.
I think we're moving in the right direction. We got things to learn. We got ways to grow. But I feel better about the place that we're in. I can't say about the church at large in the world. I have some real problems with some of the trends that are going on right now. But I know that there is an undercurrent of people who are really trying to live this thing out faithfully. And the thing that we've been missing, I think, from the megachurch culture is just the focus on Scripture and what it really means, and there was just not a lot of meat there for a long time.
And I can even say the church is more welcome. I've seen the church become more welcoming just in my lifetime.
Absolutely.
Because when I was young, like a teenager, there was no way I was coming because I felt like I wasn't welcome there.
If you didn't dress right, if you didn't look right, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of weird church stuff out there, but I do believe that there is a faithful undercurrent that is beginning to gather some momentum, and we want to be a part of that. That's the only kind of church I want to do right now. Because the more we get into Scripture and really get down behind what the face value, it becomes like an ocean. The further you swim out, the bigger you realize it is. And it becomes
a lot harder for us to look down our nose at people.
Good Lord!
Yeah.
It really does.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Well, I wonder we might have made you more confused on Scientology, or potentially it's just I think unless you're I was going to say unless you're in it, I think it's endlessly confusing, but I actually think that it's probably endlessly confusing even if you're in it.
I will say this
for sure.
There are a lot of documentaries out there on it, and I can recommend the one with Leah Remini. I think it's on Hulu.
Yeah,
that one's pretty good. And Going Clear. Now, Going Clear came out in like 2015, and I watched it when it first came out.
Yeah.
And that sucker, I think it still stands the test.
That's
today,
what helped
10
Pat
years
leave
later.
the Church of Scientology.
Right.
It did.
Exactly.
He saw that documentary, and then they
Well-
were like, "You got to be audited 150,000," and he was like, "I'm out."
That and me and Travolta got into a fight over that movie Swordfish, and
Oh, I figured it was over Battlefield Earth, the Scientology film.
no, I had already been gone at that point.
Have you ever listened to any Frank Zappa?
Yeah, amazing.
I've heard the name.
He's an amazing guitar player.
Yeah.
Don't tell me he was a Scientologist.
No, it's funny because one of the very first times I ever heard of Scientology was on this. He had this double album, and I can't remember the name of it right now. But it was like this. It was like this long, drawn out story in music. And at one point, he's having this like weird psychotic episode, and he mentions L. Ron Hoover.
Hoover. So he didn't even get his name right.
No, and he compares it to like the vacuum cleaner. the
Yeah.
Hoover.
Yeah.
Was it Joe's Garage?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
That is it. It's
Yeah,
on Joe's
79.
Garage. I think I still have the LPs at home. And it is, man, if you listen to that thing all the way through, you're going to need
Therapy?
to sleep under a table or something. It is crazy. But he was a musical genius.
Yeah, he really was.
And he always used the best musicians, and it's the weirdest music you ever heard in your life. And it has L. Ron Hoover in it.
L. Ron Hoover.
But anyway, interesting thing about it, the Church of Scientology will tell you that they have over 11 million members. This John guy will tell you that they have 25,000.
Oh, wow.
Wikipedia tells you that they have 40,000. So
they're greatly inflating their numbers.
For them to be auditing, they are really bad at numbers.
Yeah,
Those,
yeah.
Those are close.
11 million, 40,000.
That's a big difference
Yes,
there.
it is. So maybe they're counting like some churches count their membership. It's like people who never come.
Well, and I wonder, do they count your multiple lives?
Maybe they do.
Yeah.
I bet you they're counting and maybe each
yeah.
person with their thetans, it's like, okay, that's
75 million years, that's a long way to go.
yeah,
you know?
I bet you that's what it is, because their members never die.
That is true. They don't need their bodies anymore.
Yeah, so based off of if you counted when he started it in the late 50s, 60s time frame, that's a lot of not dead people.
That's a lot of not dead people.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that may have had 3 lives before then, or millions of lives before then.
Just make sure whatever you do, you don't get thrown into a volcano.
Yes,
Because
yes.
then your job will be to harass humans for
Now,
Yeah.
our next week we're going to get to talk about our not brothers in Christ.
I think we could probably get there.
Oh, okay.
Yes, exactly. You're going to want to tune in for
them?
this one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man, it's gonna.
It took me a second.
Now, here's the thing too: is just like Scientology, we really just scratched the surface.
Yeah.
You could do a 5-part series on Scientology. You could do a whole episode just on the Sea Org. You could just do so I know it's a little bit all over the place, but man, sometimes when you get into some of this stuff, you're going, you guys do what?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it's really hard.
Yeah, I can't speak for the other two here. They're very sincere, but I can say that I am completely making fun of you, Scientologists, and satanic, all of them. Yeah, I am making fun of you. I'm sorry, I find it hilarious.
Well, for those who have survived it, it's very real. And honestly, almost everybody that, well, I'm not going to say almost everybody. Many of the people who have survived have made it their life's mission to get everybody else out.
Yeah.
It's odd.
Yeah.
Oddly, they come to Christianity.
Many of them do.
Leah Remini
Yeah.
is.
Many of
yeah,
them do,
She
yes.
she came to Christianity.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I believe this, I have the feeling that this John guy did too, but I couldn't be sure about that. But anyway, so next week, is even larger topic than this one.
I feel like
it's a larger community of people too.
Oh my gosh! And,
I feel like next week's is the one that would. Church of Scientology is just weird. I mean, it's just super weird,
and it's a big old money grab.
It is
big money grab.
Next week's, I think, is the potential that could step on some toes because I know some firsthand, and I know that they believe that we are the same.
So far, we've covered evil sex, paying for sex, and then next week we're gonna go believing sex.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're gonna try to tread lightly. We're gonna try not to be super offensive, but there are some things you'll see next week. We're not gonna let the cat out of the bag, but
we will ask questions.
Yep.
Well, and we may even answer a few.
Might look in a hat to get a few answers. You know?
Yeah. Let's get our own honesty box. That's what we need to do.
Yes. Oh, you made me choke on my spit.
Maybe then people will send in questions to Reb at hollygrovechurch.com.
I missed that this past week.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, so we could get an honesty box.
Yep. All right, guys, leave us a rating and review. Hit that like button. Comment below.
Go to Apple Podcasts. Come on, you guys, you can do it.
Yeah,
you can do it. We need a review from you right this minute.
Yes. Catch you next week.
Appreciate you.